This is a terrible tragedy.
Child shot dead.
Early indications of this being an accidental shooting.
Neighbors rushed to help the dying 4-year-old.
We didn't even have a gunshot. We just heard the screaming.
Protesters arrested. Why they were marching and the action they demand.
See if we can't at least locate and identify this gentleman.
Child creeper. North Little Rock police investigating after a girl playing outside says a man stopped and asked if she wanted a ride. The urgent warning from police to parents tonight.
Through 75 counties and hundreds of investigations, from the most violent crimes to petty infractions. This is Arkansas Crime Watch with Mitch McCoy.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on Fox16.com for a new Arkansas Crime Watch. We begin tonight with tragedy in West Little Rock. A 4-year-old child shot dead. Little Rock police call it an apparent accident. It happened at Westbridge Apartments off Labette Manor Drive just after noon on Friday. Police say they got the call about a 4-year-old boy that had been accidentally shot. The child was rushed to a hospital where he died.
We just fell to our knees, started praying. And then I just started asking questions. How? How?
It is unclear right now exactly what happened inside that apartment. Detectives have been busy throughout the weekend interviewing family members. Price McKeon got on scene shortly after that shooting call went out. She is in studio control tonight with the latest. Price, this is absolutely horrible. Tell me where investigators are at right now in the investigation to figuring out how, and can you describe that scene?
Right, so Mitch, when we first got there and we talked with the police officer that was there, Officer Eric Barnes, he was very, very specific about making sure he talked with a police sergeant before he talked with us about any information. So we knew something immediately was going on. There was something very unique about this, that it was people need to go through the chain of command immediately. And then we found out that they said it was an accidental shooting. But then they started talking about, Officer Barnes started talking about, well, there was some conflicting information initially, and that they didn't know if it was self-inflicted, they didn't know what, if maybe someone else shot the child, and that they were just being very cautious about this investigation. So that is how it all played out on scene right there.
You've covered numerous homicides just like I have. Not saying that this is a homicide investigation, this is a death investigation, but this is strange. I mean, this was strange for investigators to say on the front end of all of this, saying that there's conflicting stories. I don't think I've ever heard that before from detectives at a shooting investigation before so early on. So that kind of gives you an idea, you'd think, to I guess how complex this is.
Well, I think that's exactly why officers decided they were going to take this very, very cautiously, step by step from the beginning, just to make sure, just in case, because once there is a scene, they need to secure that scene, which means not let anyone around that scene, and they need to start coming for evidence in case later on they found out, okay, well, maybe this isn't accidental. But again, police do believe this is an accidental shooting as of Friday evening.
Yeah, can you talk to what people were saying? We heard you were speaking to the lady earlier and we played that sound, but can you speak to just how everybody kind of came together to try and save this child?
They did. That woman, when she talked with me, I can just tell you, Mitch, it brought goosebumps. Honestly, her just describing it, and some of the details we couldn't even get into because they were so graphic of what she was telling us, but it was just, she said everyone just ran there, and when everyone comes together in that neighborhood, she said everyone comes together in that neighborhood. She says that everyone just swarmed trying to help this child, which then again was taken by ambulance, rushed to a local hospital where unfortunately he passed.
That is absolutely horrible, and Price, obviously an incredibly sad and emotional scene, not just for that family that is now preparing for this funeral, but officers and detectives who are investigating it. And
kids. There were kids that live all in this community, Mitch, and they were coming home as that crime scene was clearing today.
What were they saying, out of curiosity? Did you hear any of the conversations between those kids and their parents?
Well, when the kids started coming off what looked like the school bus maybe would have dropped them off, I saw a school bus leaving and I see a group of kids and one kid goes, "What happened here today?" and you just knew they had no idea what happened when they were at school. So then they went on to their apartments, and that's when, you know, you saw adults coming out, checking on children and everything like that.
Horrible. Price McKeon is in our studio control room tonight. Price, thank you for covering that story. Obviously a very sad scene unfolding in West Little Rock last week. Thank you. We're moving to the other side of the river, where North Little Rock police are investigating an incident also involving a child, actually multiple kids. A man has reportedly approached children in 2 different neighborhoods playing outside their homes. The first happened off Bel Air in the Lakewood area, the second in the Indian Hills community near Pontiac. Police say the man may have asked one of the girls if she wanted a ride. Police are describing the car as dark, possibly a gray Toyota Prius that was messy inside, and also may have had a logo and red numbers on the driver's side door. Officers got that same description in the Lakewood area. Police were told that a man in a Prius approached their child outside, but officers say it is unclear if he talked to that child.
Where the incident occurred, as well as other neighborhoods close to the area. We're just trying to find information right now. See if we can't at least locate and identify this gentleman and try to find out the other side of this incident.
Police are asking parents to talk to their kids about what to do if a stranger approaches them. Susan Alcori tracking this case tonight. Susan, this must be terrifying for those parents.
Yeah, Mitch, I was able to talk to the parent of the 12-year-old girl on the phone, and she was telling me just how traumatic it's been, not just for her daughter, but for her to get this phone call that her daughter was approached like that. One thing she is stressing, though, she's just proud that her daughter held her composure in this and knew to tell the man no. She actually pointed to a house and said, "That's my house," and rode her bike towards that area, which she thinks is a big thing about letting this man just leave her alone.
Can you speak to the vibe in that neighborhood? Obviously, this is something that they were talking about on Facebook. From what I understand, this is obviously a tight-knit neighborhood. What are they doing to make sure that no children are abducted?
Well, it's definitely one of those neighborhoods where neighbors look out for each other. Even when I was there, you saw kids out playing, parents out with their kids. And I think what they're really doing is just trying to make people aware and just looking out for each other. And if they know that someone else's kid is out there, they just have their eyes out. And one thing they also tell me is they are all looking for that Prius in case it does make an appearance back in the neighborhood.
Boy, you know, it makes me wonder, when we were talking about that vehicle description, Susan, you've probably thought the same thing. We're talking about a gray Prius, a dark colored logo on the side, possible, you know, numbers on it. This could be maybe a work car of some kind. I'm sure you thought the same thing.
Yeah, it sounded like that from the description. Police aren't sure, though. One thing officers did tell me is they were impressed with the level of description this 12-year-old girl was able to give them, you know, especially knowing that the car was messy on the inside, stain on the passenger door. They do think that those are certain traits that will help the car stand out for anyone who might spot it. But again, just they only have that one description that they're really going off of. So officers are, you know, trying to look out for this car, but just also warning, you know, you have to be careful in general when you make those generalizations.
Wow. Well, obviously an active case in North Little Rock tonight. Susan, thank you very much. Authorities in Lonoke County say deputies who were following their gut found a boatload of drugs at a public campsite. It started with a traffic stop that seemed suspicious. It led deputies to Indian Lakes, where they found a stolen camper with 2.5 pounds of meth, as well as heroin and other drugs, 10 guns, at least one of which was stolen, and a military-grade explosive. Nobody was inside that camper, but police say they're looking for Chad Wells. He's considered armed and dangerous. If you know where he is, you are asked to call the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office. We're moving to your crime caught on camera tonight, where multiple protesters were arrested last week in downtown Little Rock. This group was protesting the February shooting of Bradley Blackshire. Prosecutors recently cleared the officer who shot Blackshire, meaning he won't face criminal charges. He was, however, fired from LRPD. A witness told us they saw about 10 people on this police bus. We're told the protesters walked from the Pulaski County Prosecutor's Office toward City Hall, where a board meeting was started. We're told that they were charged with disorderly conduct. No word if the prosecutor's office will keep those charges intact, but of course a story that we're going to continue to follow. Moving to your crime tracker tonight, where Hot Springs police arrested a woman on suspected DWI. Officers say she was possibly drunk behind the wheel and injured 5 people, including a 1-year-old. Officers say Louise Young had been drinking and hit the gas pedal instead of the brakes while parking. A 60-year-old woman and a 1-year-old baby boy were airlifted to the hospital. She is in critical condition. The toddler is in serious condition as well. Additional charges could be added depending on blood test results. We're learning a deadly shooting involving Los Angeles police last month has ties to Arkansas. The Arkansas County Sheriff confirms the gun used by a man who was shot and killed by LAPD during a shootout was reported stolen from Arkansas County last December. No word on the details of that theft. A high school secretary in Hot Springs is now facing charges for stealing thousands of dollars from the school. Last month, the Hot Springs school superintendent reported a large amount of district money missing. Police say Danielle Pitts, who was an employee at Hot Springs World-Class High School, came forward, admitting she stole $39,000 from the activity account gate money. We're told she then gave back cash forms and checks that hadn't been deposited. Pitts now faces an embezzlement charge. A local animal rescue takes on a load of puppies after being told the mother of the pups was stabbed and poisoned. Volunteers with the CARE say the pup's mom was brutally killed after wandering onto a neighbor's property. Now they are tasked with fostering them until they are ready for adoption, which will be a few months. CARE took on the pups after 2 other shelters said they could not care for them.
They just have to be under really constant care. They need to be on heating pads and kept warm, and made sure that they don't, get too much milk and aspirate or, crawl over themselves and suffocate each other.
But they are asking for donations and are in desperate need of baby wipes, puppy pads, and puppy formula, which can be dropped off at the CARE headquarters on Kavanaugh in Little Rock. Benton police arrested a man who they say was found naked in a gas station restroom. A customer called police after finding Corey Daniel lying on the bathroom floor with no clothes on. Daniel allegedly told police he'd taken Xanax. Police say he had trouble keeping his balance and slurred his speech. He, of course, was booked for public intoxication. We're moving to the Mug of the Week, where tonight's is out of Garland County. 36-year-old Mark Christopher Willis was booked last week on a probation violation. No context to why the Mug of the Week, this one was selected. And we want to remind you that all of the suspects you've seen tonight are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And remember, if you have any information on any of these cases we talked about tonight, including that one in Lonoke County, again, the county's most wanted, you are asked to call your local police department. And as we leave you tonight, here's a look at Arkansas's most wanted. These individuals are being hunted by Arkansas Community Correction right now. If you see them, call 911. Have a safe week. And I'll see you tomorrow night on Fox 16 News at 9.